Alrighty, I promised you that I would show you how to use Docappender, an add-on for your Google Forms, to collect data. So you see here, I'm in Forms now. I've already got a basic form set up. I titled it Accommodations, and I want this for one student. So I put in Sally's name at the top. I have added a question here that says Data Collection Folder. I've made it multiple choice. I have made it required, but I haven't put in any answer choices. Docappender is going to use this to tell my form where to store the data. So that's one of the questions you have to have is, and you can put anything in here, but this allows you to choose where to send the information. All right, I have teacher name. If there are a couple of teachers using this, several teachers, you could list those. Notice I have check boxes here rather than multiple choice. So if it is more than one teacher, I can select those together for team teaching, or if you have some help in your classroom. I made that required. And of course, if it's just for a single teacher, you don't need that section. I have accommodations listed. I have added a couple here. I always want to, and let me delete this for just a moment. I always want to add an other section. So this will provide a little box to type in something else if needed. I make this required so that I'm sure to collect that data. And then I added a notes section. Notice I chose paragraph here so that I could go in and type anything else that I needed, but I'm not going to make this required. I may not always want to add notes to that. All right, the next thing we need to do is get the add-on. So we're going up here to these three little dots, the More section. We are going to choose add-ons, and we're going to look for Docappender. If it doesn't show up here in the list, we'll just type it in. And there it is. We will click on the free. It's going to ask for permission to do several things, and I am going to tell it to allow. And then it tells you that it's a simple setup, that you need to select a folder that contains your target. And so I found the easiest way is to set that up first. So I'm going over to my drive. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call this, oops, can't spell, no surprise, accommodations, and I'll just put SW for Sally Walker. I'm going to create that folder. And then inside the folder, I need to create a Google Doc where the information's going. And so I will add a title here. Oh, let me type out Sally's name. I'm going to click up here on the title and hit enter so that it titles my document. I'm done. And I'm going back to my Google form now. I'm going to choose the puzzle piece, which is my add-ons, and click Docappender. I'm going to open it in the sidebar, and it's going to do everything right here and walk you through every step. So I have already done this a couple of times, and so it's trying to tell me where I want to put this. You're going to have options of create new or to choose a folder that you've already made, and I think it says choose folder. Mine says choose a different folder. So I'll go ahead and choose. And here is my folder. I'll highlight and select. And then I tell it next. It's going to ask you what question you want to use to send your information. And so if I click this, I see my questions. If you're not seeing it, if yours just says select a question, you're going to refresh your list and it will give you a drop-down menu of your questions. And I want it to go by data collection folder. I'm going to save and populate a selected question, and notice it put my title in of my document, Accommodations Sally Walker. I click Next, and I have to tell it what I want it to put in the folder, what information. Now, notice I have timestamp here. We need to add a step in responses. So I'm going over to the form and click Responses, and I'm going to click on the spreadsheet. I have already created the spreadsheet, and it gives me a timestamp. If I had not already clicked on that, it would ask me, do I want to create a new? And I say yes, and all of this pops in. You don't have to do anything. So you just want to make sure that you click on your sheets here, create new spreadsheet, and everything else is done for you. That way you populate a timestamp. So I want the timestamp, I want the teacher name, the accommodation, and the notes to be collected. And I'm going to enable. And you're done. So let's see how this works. I'm going to close this. I'm going to make sure that my form is set up how I choose. I don't want to limit it to one response because I want to use this form over and over again. I'm going to save. And then I need a location for myself to store this URL, because this is what I will use to actually answer the form. So I'm going to go up here in a new tab, and I'm going to paste in that URL, and I'm going to answer this. I want that stored in the folder for Sally, and I'll be Mrs. Smith today. And so I chunked her material, and I gave her visual representations. I don't have any notes. Now let's put a note in. Sally worked for 15 minutes to sort and master 5 new vocabulary words. I submit, and it's done. I want to go over here to my folder and now look at my accommodations. Notice it's got a timestamp, it's got the name, it's got the accommodation, and the notes that were typed, all automatically done. Now you can certainly set up this different ways. You can set it up in a table format. You can set it up here in a chunked format. That would be up to you to decide how you want to format your document. That's all there is to it. So hope this helps you out for using Docappender. Have a great day and God bless.